there's something about you which is stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. You worked so hard for it. Now you have it. Enjoy it. But you can't enjoy it if all the time you think about last week or if you think all the time about what happens in the future. Enjoying what you have is you arrive exactly where you are right now with what you have. That's it. There is no wishing for something more of the future, and there's not wishing for something that wouldn't have happened of the past. No, you're in the present. That's it. And the more you realize this about yourself, the more you integrate this just into your normal being, then it starts to shift. Just bring more presence into present. If I observe myself, the most of the time I'm present and I'm realizing when I'm not. When I'm absent, I realize it. When I'm present, it's my normal state. For other people, maybe it's the other way around. The truth is, you're always present. You just don't know about it. There's some layer on top of the presence which somehow makes you think you're not in the present, but we're always in the present. Just the realization that you are is not there because it is overlaid by thoughts. If you take the thoughts away, you will realize, oh, there it is. One approach that we have at the moment in this world is, in order for us to feel full, we need to attain something. We need to do something. You need to have your diploma. You need to have your job. You need to have money. You need to have the first car. You need to have. So this approach is about you need. It's about doing. But the realization that I was just telling you right now that you have yourself is, no, it's not about doing. It's there already. It's just covered all the time. This time is not about adding something there. It's about this here must go. And that one must, oh, there it is. Nothing needs to be done. It is something we have to undo. This is the Eastern approach. It's the balance. You don't have to throw away everything that you have learned. It's just that there are more perspectives that when you have access to both of these perspectives, just find out for yourself. Sometimes this makes more sense. Sometimes this makes more sense. Well, important part is, as long as you have it, you can choose when to use it. But if you don't even have it, you can't use it. So what does it mean? Whatever there is to learn in this world, it's never wrong to learn it. You never know if you will need it one day. And then it's better to have than to need. It is one way out of many that are existing. I did talk only about this my whole life because I walk this way. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It's just because I walked it for so long, it is my understanding of how these practices interfere or are connected with building up a life that you think is worth living. That's it. What is the Shaolin practices doing for me? Help me build up a life, a quality life. That's it. But ultimately, it's the mind. You make your body strong. You have movements that on the one side also sometimes are quite aesthetic. And it's so nice and whole for me. There's everything involved. There is diet involved. There is structure involved. Like, when would it be good to wake up? When is it good to go to sleep? And all of these things. So it's a whole nice, let's say, culture, tradition. This is what I find so nice about it. That the search is over. You don't need to search for like, here I take this yoga practice, and then from here I take the breathing exercises from here, and from here I take like the dancing moves, and then you have like a mix-up menu. But mix-up menu maybe gives you the feeling of you have some freedom. Yeah. But structure gives you direction. You eat at 8 o'clock, then you have training from 9 until 11. When you finish the training, you're hungry already. But you need to wait until 1 o'clock. Cannot eat in between. Yeah, but why can I not just go to the kitchen and eat when I'm hungry? Because this is your mind telling you. But there's something about you which is stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. And if I'm telling you there are 3 times per day eating, that's it. In the first weeks, still you're thinking about eating, you're hungry, all of this. But at some point, you will have accepted it. That okay? 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You're okay. And what does it mean? Now the real freedom has come. Now you're free. Because even if you're hungry and you say next food is at 6 o'clock, no problem, I can wait, it's good. And you're free. Not free is, it's 2 o'clock, I'm already hungry, 4 more hours, I need to eat something. I cannot wait until 6 o'clock anymore. This is not free. This idea of what does freedom mean to you, does it mean you can go to the kitchen anytime you want? No. That means you're slave to the mind. Free is no matter what the mind tell you, you can wait, I can wait. This is where now you see that sometimes it's necessary to have this obvious structure and discipline. But why? Because it's a helpful way to bring out that type of freedom that we say from our tradition. This is the freedom. It's also not the freedom in terms of you walk through Cluj, many beautiful women. But at home you have your own women sitting already. Now you could say, well, it's a free world, we're all free. So my wife is at home, but actually I can still flirt around. This is a way of where you say, well, this is freedom. Yeah, but where does this type of freedom lead to? It's leading to suffering. You're causing suffering by behaving this type of free. No, if you have one wife, you stay with that one wife, that's it. And you stay free from suffering. But if somebody is tempted too much, if somebody cannot handle his temptation, he's enslaved by temptation. And at some point, this type of behavior is not just going to bring suffering to you, it also brings suffering to everyone that you are involved in. This is where I say, what type of freedom are you talking about? And the freedom that eventually is going to get onto the costs or is causing suffering to you and other ones, this is not the freedom we want. It's the type of freedom that makes us be able to live together in the community way better. This is the way of freedom, where I can let you live the life how you like to live it, and you let me live my life how I like to live it. I don't need to tell you your way is wrong, you should live like I do. No, this is not free, this is limited. This is thinking you have the answers to the questions of the universe. Well, you don't, just as like I don't have them. The only thing I'm sharing right now is my observation. I don't say it's right for anyone. I just say until now, everything we talked about, it worked for me. If something is useful from what we have talked about and somebody tries it out and then realize, cool, also works for me, I'm really happy about it. But if somebody says, well, this is not my way of living, I don't share this opinion, it's not a problem. What is it in the evening that is sucking energy most probably? It's the mind. It's the mind activity very much, which is sucking a lot of energy. You go to bed, you wake up in the morning, but still feel like very tired and not recovered. It might be the reason that your brain, your mind is still too active in the evening. Stop thinking too much of the past. Stop dreaming too much about the future. Practice yourself, remain in the present. And this also then translates into your quality of sleep. Because when you sleep, you sleep. When you eat, you eat. When you talk, you talk. When you work, you work. But nowadays, people work and they think about eating. People eat and they think about sleeping. People sleep and they think about working. So there's something not aligned. There is no synchronicity. You are here, but actually something else is there. This is not how it's supposed to be. Being present means sleep, you sleep. You talk, you talk. You eat, you eat. You walk, you walk. You drive, you drive. You listen, you listen. This is ultimately where all of this journey goes. And then the amount of sleep is not so important, but the recovery rate is very, very different. I'm happy if I have 7 hours. When I have 7 hours, I'm happier. 6 hours is quite limit. So 6 is really limit. I can maintain even 5 or 6 hours, but after a few days, I feel it's not good to continue like this. Because then you're starting to really burn some energy which you cannot recover anymore. Very interesting now when it comes to that word energy, how it is related to diet, breathing, and lifestyle. The quickest way to change something about the way how you feel during the day or energy state are these 3 things. diet, breath work, and lifestyle. If you have good, nutritious food, if your breathing apparatus is working properly, and if your lifestyle, let's say waking up at a certain time, going to bed early enough, having enough sleep, if you maintain all of these three things, chances are very, very good that your energy level is proper. If the diet is not good, if your breath is not good, if your lifestyle is not good, still you are alive somehow, but the energy that is now being sucked out from you in order to make you still functioning, it is coming from something that we, let's say in the ancient tradition, call it comes from your essence, which means ultimately no good lifestyle, no good food, no good breath, life short. You die early. Very simple. So that's it. The system how it is, the system how it was, it brings out some consequences. One of these consequences is very intensively the feeling of many people not being enough. And so if there is a place to change this, so how do I get rid of this hole that constantly needs to be filled up? That is the main question. And there I would say it is the mental direction, it's the mental state. So where do I need to change it? It's in the mind. It's in the way how I look at the world. If you only look at the world based on the system that you have been raised up, now, of course you are then part of the system, but it's only one out of many, many systems that are existing in this world. So starting to expand the mind, starting to also look at other people, how are they living the life? That maybe opens up now suddenly another perspective that, oh, there is something beyond having good grades. There is something more relevant, maybe more important, more life accepting than running after grades and filling up your life with more and more burdens that at the end also don't make you feel more free. It just makes you feel more heavy, because that one system is trying to fill up that hole inside of you, always by putting something more on top of you. Because this is what we're doing. In the beginning, we don't have money. We work until we have the first amount of money. Then you have it. You spend it. Whatever you have spent it on, it's not enough. It was enough for that one day when you spend it. There, the feeling of fullness or satisfaction was quickly there. But it's the same. In the beginning, it's a Golf, a Volkswagen, then maybe a BMW. One day you just keep working, no problem, it's gonna be a Porsche. But it's not gonna end at the Porsche, promised. Either it's gonna be the second Porsche or it's gonna be another car. In the beginning it was not even a smartphone, it's like the big huge ones. Meanwhile, technology has moved on, but it has become normal that we are just simply spending the money on things that, I don't know, it has become convenient, but it's not, nowadays it's not even filling up any gap there anymore. Because in our tradition we think, yeah, it's the wrong approach. Many people don't see the things as they are. What does it mean? For example, this picture that we had before, that it's always about up, more. It needs to be filled up more. Yeah, it's never enough. So you want something, you work for it, you get it. In the moment you get it, you already have the next that you want. And it always moves on up this ladder. You always try to fill it up with something. This is also maybe one type of approach that this society, this world nowadays also wants to promote to you. That it's about having more, being more beautiful, higher, faster, harder, all of this. But when we simply observe how the things are, right now, yeah, it's 1 p.m. UK, Looking outside, the sun is still shining, but in 7 hours, it's not going to look like this anymore. In 7 hours, something has dramatically changed, which meaning the daylight is gone. So what we then have is what we call simply night. Since we are born in this world, this has repeated every day. Sunrise, sun goes down. So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Our heart, the same. Sucking the blood, pumping the blood, also the same. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure. It's just that this world is not propagating failure to you. It is propagating success to you. So our mind is looking for success, starting to believe there's only one way, there's only one direction in this life that we live, which is about moving upwards. But this world is not just about upwards. So realizing this, really understanding, it's not just about up. It's not just about taking. It's about taking and giving. It's about relaxing and doing. It's about exchange. It's about constant exchange with you, your peers, with people around you, with the world. It's about exchange, because exchange means there is a change. There's constantly happening some transformation. And this is what out there, this is what everything is built upon.
Good morning. It has been quite a privilege being able to grow up in two quite different ways of life. I was born in Germany and at the same time had the chance to learn more about an ancient art coming from the Shaolin temple. When you grow up in an Asian family, it is quite common that firstly, you don't argue with your father, and secondly, you either become medical doctor, engineer, or lawyer, elsewise your parents will be very unhappy. So, having that said, I finished my academic education with 2 university degrees, an MBA, and quite a collection of different certificates and diplomas. Everything that my parents thought would be useful to have. But throughout this education, I felt something was missing. Because I was learning about many different aspects. How the plant is working, what an atom is made out of, how a political system is functioning. But somehow the subject was missing to learn something about myself. So with the age of 4, for the first time, I got introduced into the monastic practices. And I was very happy to find out that the main part of these practices were dealing with the exploration and the discovery of yourself. There was mental training, development of behavior, combined with the physical training, all aspects of what nowadays is known as Shaolin Kung Fu. Now, despite the wishes of my parents to somehow go out in the market and try to manage the world, I decided to continue this monastic life and start learning more about myself first. Now, in the preparation for this talk, I was asked to share a few words on what is important in this lifetime and see it's already challenging to put 3 decades into a single talk. But the picture I would like to show you summarizes very much what I consider as being valuable in this lifetime. There is something about sharing with others. There is something about connection. There is the training and development of yourself. It is to enjoy your time, even doing nothing. And one main aspect is to find a way and do the things you like to do. Now, when I received the invitation to have a talk at today's event, especially under the slogan, High, Higher, Highest, something very particular came up on my mind. And a master from the Shaolin temple once told me a story that I would like to share with you. A man was living close to a mountain, and every day he was thinking, how would it be to climb that mountain, and what would I see on the peak? So finally the day came, and the man went on the journey. Arriving at the foot of the mountain, he met the first traveler. So he asked, how did you get up the mountain and what did you see from the top? And so the traveler shared his path and also the view that he had. But then the man was thinking, the way that this traveler described to me sounds very exhausting. I need to find another way to climb. So he continued to walk on the foot of the mountain until he met the next traveler. So once again he asked, how did you climb up that mountain? And what did you see from the top? And so again the traveler shared his story. Still not being determined on which direction and which way to go, the man asked 30 more people, 30 more travelers. When he finished talking to all of them, he finally made up his mind. Now that so many people already shared with me their paths and especially what they all saw from the top, I don't need to climb there anymore. It is very unfortunate this man never went on the journey. Now, to conclude this story, firstly, each individual needs to find the most suitable way to climb that mountain. But secondly, there is information possible to be shared with words. But it is impossible to share the experience of clarity when you are standing on that peak by yourself. To invest the right effort in climbing that peak is very much what all the Buddhist practices, the Shaolin training, or any spiritual practice is about. Clarity means you see more clear. When you see more clear, interrelations become more apparent. When you see more clear, there is no need to believe anyone or believe anything. Seeing clear means you can distinguish for yourself which is the proper direction to take And which decisions do I have to make in order to make my goals or aspirations start to shape? Now, at today's talk, you will have the chance to become inspired by quite a lot of different travelers. But in this particular talk, I can't and I won't tell you which way to go. It's just that along your personal journey, you will encounter challenges. Those challenges will either prevent you, or some of them even stop you from moving on and climbing that mountain. In the Shaolin Temple, we refer to them as the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances are describing different states of the mind. In those states of the mind, it becomes very hard to see clearly and therefore engage in the right decisions. The first hindrance is called sensual desire. Sensual desire arises in the moment when you are paying attention to something that is giving you a positive emotion. This positive emotion can originate from 5 gates of your body: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, or feeling. So in your mind, you climb up that mountain. After 1 mile of walking, you discover a beautiful restaurant surrounded by beautiful people. You smell delicious food and the great variety of beverages. When you follow that temptation, you have already lost your track. When this temptation becomes so strong that you don't want to leave that place anymore, then the sensual desire has turned into an obsession. In both cases, remaining at that place means you can't get clarity. The second hindrance, ill will, describes a state of the mind that arises from negative emotions. In that state of the mind, you have an aversion, a rejection, or simply a dislike against either an object, a situation, or can be even a person. To simplify, it means you are climbing the mountain and it starts to rain, but you don't like rain. You discover the roads are bumpy, but you don't like bumpy roads. In order to cross the river, you need to swim, but you don't like swimming. Whatever it is that you dislike, it won't make it a pleasant journey. Unless you learn to let go of this ill will, it's more likely even that you won't continue that journey. The third hindrance, originally translated as sloth and torpor. Sloth means it's the heaviness of the body. Torpor means it's the dullness of the mind. It is characterized by sleepiness, non-motivation, lack of energy, and oftentimes can manifest itself in a state of depression. Now, a simile used in Buddhism describes it as imprisonment. You find yourself locked in a cell. It becomes very hard to make any type of mental or physical effort. So, in order to continue your path, there is only one option left. You need to find a way to get out from that hole, from that cell. Now, the fourth hindrance is called restlessness. It is the state of an unsettled mind. Unsettled mind means your mind cannot settle. Settle where? Settle in the present moment. An unsettled mind either is worrying about the future or traveling into the past and rejecting, judging about an event that happened into your past. A simile used here is the monkey mind, constantly jumping from one branch to another, unable to stay for a too long time at the present moment. The problem is, there is no time to see clearly anymore. Now, the last of the 5 hindrances is called skeptical doubt and is very closely related to a state of mind which is based on indecisiveness. It is very easy in that state of mind getting lost in thoughts. Can I do this? Is this the right path? What will the others say? What if this? What if that? The mind cannot synchronize with your own actions anymore. And the result is that you are getting disconnected with the goals and aspirations that once you have set to yourself. When the way is filled with too much doubts, more often you will stop instead of moving on. That we know the 5 hindrances now, what are we going to do about them? You need to align and structure your life in such a way to prevent those hindrances from arising. If you are not successful, you need to use techniques in order to remove them. Each of these hindrances is placing a dark cloud on your mind or on the way of your climb. Simply remember one thing. Just let it rain. This is a 4-step method to help you removing those hindrances. The first step is recognize in what state of the mind you are finding yourself in. Afterwards, learn to accept, acknowledge, and allow the situation or a person to be the way how it is, to be the way how they are. Investigate your emotional and mental state and ask questions. Why did it come up? What is going to be the consequence if I remain in that state? And ultimately, non-identification means it is the practice. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am not my emotion. It's just that I can see all these 3 aspects about me. All of our lifetimes, all of our lives are too unique to copy the past from someone else. To bring meaning to your life, to bring value into your life, you need to learn and master yourself. And don't let the hindrances stop you. If any of you chooses to climb that path to clarity, I will be very happy to meet you at the peak.